Polish President Andrzej Duda has confirmed Poland's willingness to join the nuclear sharing programme. If there would be such a decision by our allies to deploy nuclear weapons within the framework of nuclear sharing also on our territory, in order to strengthen the security of NATO's eastern flank, then we are ready for it. Under this programme, Poland could lease nuclear weapons from the United States, which, in the context of a real Russian threat, is particularly important for us.
Na obszarze Europy oraz Turcji Amerykanie zgromadzili zapasy.
In the area of Europe and Turkey, the Americans have accumulated stockpiles, small numbers of these bombs, which, in the event of an armed conflict, would be made available to the military aviation of countries such as Turkey, Italy, Germany, Belgium, or the Netherlands, so that the country's aviation could launch nuclear attacks against the aggressor alongside the United States.
Agresora u boku Stanów Zjednoczonych.
This kind of strengthening of Polish security would be unthinkable for Moscow. So the Kremlin is striking those old tones and threatening war, as it always does. The Russian military will take the necessary steps for the country's security in the event of the deployment of United States nuclear weapons in Poland.
Odpowiedzialność za tą eskalację spada na władze Rosji.
The responsibility for this escalation falls on the Russian government. I think that all those who at this moment are wondering about the President's opinion on the matter should first familiarize themselves with the large number of Russian troops that are stationed around Poland. The President's initiative, at least in the declarative layer, is not saying no to Prime Minister Donald Tusk, and he announces his willingness to meet with the head of state.
Musiałbym dobrze zrozumieć.
I would have to get the President's intentions right and for all of us to have the conviction that we want this.
Wszyscy przekonanie, że chcemy tego.
But worryingly, Donald Tusk's words are reminiscent of his rhetoric from 2008, when the fate of the US missile shield in Poland was at stake. Back then, thanks to the head of government, this project was nullified.
Ewentualna instalacja antyrakietowa w Polsce.
A possible anti-missile installation in Poland must serve to strengthen Poland's security. And that installation, without the additional elements we are talking about, that is modernization, but also other types of cooperation and such political security guarantees, in our opinion, it does not enhance this security.
W naszej ocenie nie zwiększa tego bezpieczeństwa.
Te sygnały, które zostały wysłane przez premiera, brzmią niepokojąco.
These signals that have been sent by Poland's Prime Minister sound worrying. They are signals of a willingness to yield in the future to Russia's blackmail. The Americans understand very well what a threat Russia is. That's why Congress voted to support the embattled Ukraine. Currently, 5 countries are using the nuclear sharing program, including Italy, Turkey, Germany, Belgium and the Netherlands. Poland would therefore enter the elite group and definitely increase its security. However, will this be the will of the Polish government? Time will tell. Paweł Błoch, TV Republika. Ukraine has been waiting for this decision for many months. The House of Representatives has approved a nearly $61 billion support package for Ukraine. This is aid that could be critical to the outcome of the war taking place across our eastern border. I would like to thank everyone who supported the package. It is a life-saving decision. I would like to personally thank Speaker of the House of Representatives Mike Johnson and all American hearts who, like us in Ukraine, feel that Russian evil cannot prevail. All Democrats and nearly half of Republicans voted in favor of the package. The bill will now be sent back to the Senate, from where it will likely reach President Joe Biden's desk in no time.
The whole world is watching us today. Winston Churchill, before World War II, spoke of those like Neville Chamberlain who chose dishonor over war and ended up with both. Likewise, isolationists today who choose to retreat from helping our friends who are being threatened and invaded will find that the struggles of our friends will sooner or later.
Associations with World War II come to mind. Polish President Andrzej Duda used similar arguments during a March meeting with the members of Congress. At the time, the Polish head of state urged the House of Representatives Speaker Mike Johnson to move quickly on a bill to support Ukraine. Won't it be as history teaches us from World War I and World War II, that in the end American soldiers, that is American guys, have to go to Europe, and there are left the graves of American soldiers who died on the European fronts defending freedom, democracy, all that is important for the so-called Free West. Maybe today it's better for the American taxpayer to sacrifice a few dollars to support the defenders of Ukraine. Apparently, Andrzej Duda's words got through to the American politicians. Shortly after the bill was passed, Mike Johnson repeated the argument cited by the Polish president, among others.
It's an old military adage, but we would rather send bullets to the conflict overseas than our own boys, our troops.
Johnson, who currently holds one of the most important positions in the United States, belongs to the conservative Christian faction of the Republican Party. He openly admits to his faith, skepticism about human impact on climate change, and opposition to LGBT ideology or abortion. In Europe, it would be unthinkable for a man with such views to hold important positions in the European Commission, for example. His initial skepticism about supporting Ukraine was probably overcome by Donald Trump. According to Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda, the former and possibly future United States president was influenced by his conversation with Andrzej Duda. I have been hearing lately about the different rhetoric of Donald Trump himself and the willingness of the United States government to make necessary and long-awaited decisions. I think that this visit and the talks with Trump were positive, yielded a positive result, and I am very pleased with this achievement of Mr. Duda. The significance of the meeting, deprecated by numerous Polish media outlets, was recognized by, among others, US CBS News Television.
In terms of a persuasive voice on the Ukraine issue, he might be able to get through to Mr. Trump.
Foreign politicians and global headlines appreciated the role of Andrzej Duda. A slightly different assessment of the situation was made by Paweł Kowal of the Civic Coalition, who attributed the decision of the United States Senate to Donald Tusk. Prime Minister Donald Tusk was right when he put Allied pressure on Chairman Johnson. The massive coalition built together with the European allies to stop Putin has broken the resistance of some Republicans in the United States. Donald Tusk himself in February posted an insulting post against Republicans online after the US Senate voted on a bill to support Ukraine. Ronald Reagan, who helped millions of us regain our freedom and independence, must be turning in his grave today. Shame on you. At the same time, during his March visit to the United States, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, unlike the President, chose not to meet Speaker of the House of Representatives Mike Johnson, not to mention the most influential politician in the Republican Party, Donald Trump. On Sunday, Ukrainians in the capital city Kiev welcomed the US House of Representatives passing the aid bill. The aid is coming late. With God's will, the Senate will approve the bill so that Ukraine can regather its strength and fight back against the Russians. At first glance, $61 billion might not seem like a lot, but it gives us a chance to get weapons as soon as possible and kick the Russian invaders out of Ukraine. I believe that even though this aid is for the next 5 years, the war might end sooner. We badly want the war to be over and are doing everything we can. Ukraine is strong and is doing everything in its might, and these weapons will benefit Ukraine. We either end the war on terms that are very unfair to us or keep on fighting with the aid that we get. We don't have a lot of options. It's our army with our partners' weapons. The bills provide $60.84 billion to address the conflict in Ukraine, including $23 billion to replenish US weapons stocks and facilities. A bipartisan majority of the United States House of Representatives voted on Saturday in favor of a bill that could effectively ban the TikTok app in the United States, part of a package of bills worth $95 billion in aid to key allies around the world. The bill imposing the new limits on TikTok was the first of 4 bills to be passed. The unusual 4-bill package not only includes funds for Ukraine, but also Israel. Moreover, it also includes security assistance for Taiwan and allies in the Indo-Pacific, and a measure that includes sanctions and the potential transfer of seized Russian assets to Ukraine. Meanwhile, Democrats voiced their support for the unusual 4-bill legislative package, but did not say whether they would support Republican Speaker Mike Johnson if hardline Republicans try to oust him over his support for the measures.
House Democrats have worked hard to bring about a moment where we are standing with our Democratic allies throughout the world, including Israel, Ukraine, and in the Indo-Pacific, as well as providing humanitarian assistance to Palestinian civilians in Gaza and others throughout the world who are suffering in theaters of conflict. This is a moment where the Congress is required to stand up for democracy, freedom, and truth, and push back against aggression. In a bipartisan way, we will defeat the pro-Putin obstructionists in the Congress and do what's right for America's national security interests.
If you vote against that bill, you're not voting against the Israel bill. You're voting against the Israel humanitarian aid bill. The humanitarian aid part of this bill will save hundreds of thousands of lives. And if you vote no, you're turning your back on those hundreds of thousands of people who, in the absence of this bill, will die.
The legislation now proceeds to the Democratic majority Senate, which passed a similar measure more than 2 months ago. U.S. leaders from Democratic President Joe Biden to Senate Republican Mitch McConnell have been urging embattled Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson to bring it up for a vote. Tuesday's visit to Warsaw by British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg is part of Poland's plan to rebuild its security position in Europe, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk said on Monday. Tusk told reporters that the visit is a continuation of his mission to rebuild and expand Poland's position in security policy. Tomorrow's visit of the British Prime Minister and NATO Secretary Jens Stoltenberg, our short meeting with the British soldiers and then talks at my Chancellery with the British Prime Minister and NATO Secretary General, this is a continuation of my mission to rebuild and expand Poland's position in security policy. And I care about it very much to have our allies, especially those who we cooperate closely with, the British, the Scandinavian, the countries of our region, so that our work is better coordinated. Asked about the possibility of Poland joining an initiative to provide Patriot systems to Ukraine, said it would not be possible, but there are other types of weapons that help protect the sky, and Poland will be active here.